Hi guys, how you doing? It's Epictalez back in the building today. I'm with two of my booktube best friends, Jolene and Steve talks about books. And if you're watching this after the live stream, like don't forget to drop a comment. And yeah, Queen of Fire, Book Three, Raven Shadow Trilogy. What do you guys think about it so far? So actually, Yolene mentioned earlier that she wasn't able to finish reading the book. Like she's dealing with a lot, and yeah, but she's gonna like just talk about her predictions and like if she has any observations about the book. So me and Steve are gonna keep quiet until
Yeah,
like no spoilers for her.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, apologies that I wasn't able to finish it, especially because I like the series so much. But I am curious just to hear your non-spoiler thoughts, like how this third one was, and if you liked it as much as the first two. Ooh.
So I do not like it as much as the first two, but I really like it.
Yeah.
What I really like it's still like it's still a solid book, and I feel like my problems with it is basically have more to do with like usually trilogies, specifically like trilogies, the last books in trilogies. And yeah, but like it's the quality of the writing, of course, is Anthony Ryan, so it's still really good. And some of the POVs here were really, 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 really interesting. And yeah, like the foreshadowing, I feel like the foreshadowing in the previous books like really pay off in this one.
Yeah. Pretty much the same. I think my biggest the thing I didn't like or thing I disliked the most is the amount of POVs is a little bit more than the previous two, but it was still good. It just wasn't as good as well. It was probably close to Tower Lord. I think it was close to Tower Lord. But the last 100 pages that because I was about a 3, and then the last 100 pages came and it went up to a 4 for me. So
Yeah, yeah, same. That was my
yeah.
exact same rating for this one, so 4/10 as well. I feel like no, let's hear what you're not let's hear what you think about it after the first 100 pages for you first.
Okay, so I do have a couple of things that I'm really liking so far. But I think that I will also like this one least of all, just based on this first 100 pages. I think that it has a lot of focus on the military aspect. Like Bloodsong was very character focused, and then the second one focused a lot on world building and stuff like that. But you still had some POVs that were really interesting, like Riva, which had a lot of character growth, which for me still made it interesting on that aspect. And then this one seems like it's going to be most of all plot driven, because you still have the same POVs as in the first book. I think that one is extra. Lucius, like the poet, now has an extra POV. He's quite interesting, and that he's in contact with that Seventh Order. I like that. That's where I am at this moment. But I think that's going to be a lot of military, not really a lot of character growth. Even though with Valen, that he now doesn't have the blood song, and you see that he is not as powerful as before, and that he needs to deal with that. I like that aspect, but I think that's going to be too military focused for me. Um, Haru. But then what I'm suspecting that will happen, like Lurnach or the Queen, she's giving me a lot of Daenerys vibes. But after what happened, she's out for revenge. She knows that she has a lot of power. She gets a little power drunk. She tries to shield herself from it, but you can almost see some foreshadowing that she's going to take it too far. And I like that. If that's done well, then I'm here for it. And I want to see what Valen is going to do if that's going to happen. Because he's like all duty and stuff like that. But if the Queen is going to take it too far, what will he do? So that's what I'm liking so far. Also, that you have more of the gifted, and you have those different gifts, and it's quite unique for each of them. So yeah, I'm here for it. But on the other hand, the first two were so strong that I don't know if this one will be at the same level for me.
So let me ask both of you a question, because I'm going to be honest and say that I started checking the reviews before, like when I first started this one. I started checking reviews, and then I noticed that a lot of people were giving this 1 and 2 stars. That people who usually give this like everything 5 stars, like everything is 5 stars. This was like 1, 2, 3 stars, and there was a lot of people were saying it was the least favorite, and they didn't like it, and they didn't want the story to go this way. And I think that got in my head a little bit when I first started. So did either of you read the reviews before you got into it?
Well, something after I read Blood Song and I was talking about it on different discords and like who has read it, a lot of people were telling me that book one was really good and like the other books weren't good.
Hmm.
And like most of the time, what they were saying was that they didn't like the fact that there were multiple POVs. When I read Tower Lord, I was like, I feel like reading Tower Lord and like appreciating Tower Lord for what it was helped prepare me for this. But
Yeah.
then I could kind of see like it made it people like having people say that before I read it kind of made me like pinpoint what exactly was bothering me. But not bother me enough that I didn't like the book, but bothered me enough that okay, there's something different here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when I read Bloodsong, a lot of people told me read it as a standalone because the second one isn't nearly as good. So that made me a little bit, hesitant to pick up the second one, but then I did and I loved it. So that made me think even if people say that the second and the third one isn't that good, I like the second one. So maybe I'll like the third one as well. But I was checking Goodreads, just the general score, and I think that the first two still have above 4, and then this one has 3.7, which isn't bad, but it's a big decrease, which also made me think people who read the third one most of the time like the second one. So that made me nervous. You like the second book enough to pick up the third one, and still you give it a bad rating. So that's why I'm also a little bit not sure how I will like it. Yeah.
So I feel like what was done in book one, like Anthony Ryan set the bar so high for like character driven work. So like if you're in love with if you're in love with like book one for its character work, then book two and book three kind of feel somewhat of a letdown there. Although the character work is also good, but just having multiple POVs, so having it the character work diluted among different characters and like introducing other elements to it, but if I feel like and book one is really really good, like it's like everyone says read book one, don't read the other two, but like i i I kind of appreciate her a lot for what it is, and this one as well I appreciate it. So like I mentioned earlier that like my problem with this one is like the is a problem I have with a lot of trilogies. And for me what it is that, so think about this, right? Like think about think about this. So think about you, like your favorite person is coming to visit you, right? And you're having fun, like you're having fun with them. They're cracking jokes, they're being funny, they're being good energy and everything. But like they keep looking at their watch because they're like, okay, I'm leaving soon. I'm leaving soon. Like I can, when I'm reading trilogies, the last books, and I really felt it in this one, I can kind of see the plot threads and I can see them converging, and that makes me uncomfortable. That makes it difficult for me to just like get lost in the story. And with this one, like with this one, I agree with you, Maza. I love character-driven stories. But like with this one specifically, yeah, that was my problem with it, and I feel like the fact that a lot of the conflict. I don't know if I should. Okay, yeah, yeah. Let me let you read it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but like it's a really. I still think this is a really good book. I still think this is a really good book.
And
Okay.
something, when I was reading, I think those reviews got into my head a little bit, to be honest with you, and I think it affected my enjoyment a little bit for a while. But when I think, and it was something that I wanted to ask both of you, and this, no spoilers, just in general, I think a lot of the reviews, I started reading through them, and a lot of them said something like, "This isn't what I wanted to happen," or "This isn't the way I wanted the story to go." And I wondered, do we get lost in that sometimes, not only in books but in movies and other things that we enjoy, because we come up with expectations and we want things to happen a certain way, and when they go a different way, it's a disappointment. When if you just come in and just are open to wherever the creator wants you to go with it, just enjoy it for what it is, and leave your expectations at the door. And of course, we have our guesses and we want things to happen a certain way, but when they don't happen that way, it's okay for things to be different, and for things to yeah, actually, for things
Mhm.
to not go that way. So I was curious what both of you think about that, just not only in books but in movies and other things, because you come in with open expectations, with no expectations, and you just kind of let things happen and just enjoy it for what it is. I think I'm just
That
curious.
definitely plays a role. Even in booktube, that definitely plays a role. If you know someone personally, and they read a book, and like you kind of identify, oh, me and this person are very similar, and they read a book, and like they like it and you don't like it. When you're doing your review, you're kind of like low key trying to not, step on anyone's toes, and like also like a situ like yes, 100%, that plays a role. Um that plays a role. However, I try to and I'm not always successful at doing it, but then I try really hard to separate that, because like at the end of the day, like as booktubers, or like if we're going to be reviewing, so we need to be like, we need to say why we like it, why we don't like it, because that's like what people that like watch us want to get the information they're trying to get. So I try really hard, but I feel like I still get affected sometimes.
Hmm.
Like if imagine like a movie that's like, imagine this Wheel of Time now that everybody's like, oh, raving about. Imagine if like I don't know, if Daniel Green comes out and says now he doesn't like it, you just see a lot of people start hitting on it now.
Mhm.
So there's definitely an influence there,
Yeah.
so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You're always going to have expectation, especially based on what people that you trust say about the book. Now, for me, I always thought that I wasn't thinking about it enough, because when I go into a book, I have zero expectations of what I want to happen. I often just read a book, and whatever happens, I'm fine with. When a story ends bad for a main character, I don't dislike that. I don't have a problem with that. Often, when you then see reviews, they say, I wish this or that happened. And I can have that, but I have it afterwards that I'm thinking, okay, that would be nice. But unless that makes it a better story, I'm not opposed to anything bad happening. Like for this one, I have some predictions based on the first 100 pages. But if that doesn't happen, I don't really mind. It's not that's what I want to happen. So for me, it's a little bit different in that way. And I think that's why most of the time I don't really dislike the way a story goes. Um, like, for instance, the Poppy War. I know that a lot of people dislike the third book, just how the characters went.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. It might not be my personal preference per se, but I can see what the author tried to do, and that's fine. Like with this one, it's too military fantasy for my taste, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad book. It's just not exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the fact that like Anthony Ryan is what is, and when I say consistent, I do not mean in terms of quality of writing. I mean just in terms of like the formats that he wrote book one, two, and three. I feel like that is what people don't like. I feel like if he kept consistent with the character driven like that, then like maybe the reviews will be better. But like team goddamn Frentis though, like I love Frentis. I love him so much. Like in this book, you know what? Let me not kill it for you. Let me not. But like yeah, but like so everyone likes it because the first one is just has Valen's POV, right? Now like this one, like in book two, they introduce some other POVs, and like reading Frentis's, for instance, Frentis's POV in the last book, I have no problems with him introducing Frentis as a POV. So
Mhm.
like I do not 100% agree, but I can see why people are like, this is not what they wanted. And
Mm.
if they are talking about like if they're talking about like that's if it's that specific point of like POVs they had a problem with. But if they are talking about like if they're talking about like the sequence of events that happened, I don't know what they wanted to happen. Like, I really don't, because back to like talking about book one, why book one kinds of sets up the other two to not be as liked, is that like in book one, there is the book is not you cannot the book is not necessarily moving in any direction, like
Mhm.
until the last bits of it, like just they're just these things that are happening, and you don't quite know where it's leading to. And that in itself is interesting to read, because you get like, as a reader, you're trying to guess, and you're trying to like put the pieces together, but like when there's a plot, and then you can start like narrowing down, you can start, because like it's there there's now a plot, you now have like a more focused reason to have expectations. Like, it's easier to not have expectations in book one, but for book two, like, then these expectations start coming, because you can see he's like introducing like different characters, and he's trying to like introduce all these new elements, and we're trying to see where it all fits in the story altogether.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say, and then I'm going to leave so you guys can talk spoilers. But for a lot of books, I think that sometimes reviews can be harmful because somebody doesn't like a book, people don't pick it up. For the second one, I think that that's partially true, where a lot of people just read Bloodsong, think I'm going to think about this as a standalone, and don't continue. On the other hand, I do think that it's good if you know going into Tower Lord that it is multiple POV.
Yeah.
And for me, for instance, I knew that a lot of people didn't like it. I wanted to give it a try anyway, and I knew that it was going to take a little while for me to get into it because it's multiple POV. And normally, in a second book in a series, you get thrown into the middle of the story, you're immediately caught up. And I think that most people expected that. While the second book almost feels like the first one because you have some new characters, you have a completely different dynamic. So it takes a little bit to get used to that. So I think in that aspect that it's good that people know that going in. But because I think that a lot of people just dropped out because they weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
And
It's a
that's
good
where
point.
a review can be helpful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah, it's kind of jarring. It's kind of like jarring. It's kind of this. It's a big shift. It's not trivial at all, especially if like you like book one for exactly what it is,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. But
Yeah.
yeah, like altogether, man, I still highly recommend. Like, it's a solid trilogy.
Yeah. I think he meant. I don't know for this for sure or not. I should have asked him, but I wasn't far enough into this book to kind of get a grasp on it. But I think he planned to start with the single POV and then keep expanding and tell the story that way. And I like both of you had mentioned, I think that'd be good for people to just expect that because I think it is jarring when you go from Valen and then it expands and the whole world kind of opens up. So it is, you walk in with certain expectations and it doesn't meet it, so then you're disappointed. But overall, I think you'll enjoy it, Yul. And I think there are some points in the middle where it was kind of like, okay, like, let's get on with it. But towards the end, the last 120, pages,
Things pick
uh,
up.
yeah, it was worth it. So,
Yeah, that's good to know. I was glad that both of you said that it was a 3-star read until the end. So
mhm.
I can know that in the middle, if I have some difficulties, I just need to push through. And anyway, I want to know what the ally is and stuff like that. I'm just way too intrigued. So, but when I
Yeah,
finish the book, I'll leave a comment and let you guys know what
Yes,
I think.
yes, please do.
yeah, and Chris, hear what you think. But yeah, I think you'll be satisfied
Yeah.
by the end. Yeah,
That's good. So
I'll say that.
have fun with the discussion, and I'll watch. Hopefully, when I finish the book, I hope that it will be in a couple of days.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
All
Wow.
right.
All right. Okay, so like yeah. What
So,
part specifically were you talking about when you said you're like you let this move along?
just the middle part of it, just the plotting and I don't want to say there's too much action, but
It was
it
too
was
much
kind of,
action.
yeah, it
It
was
was
a
too
little too
much
much.
action. And that is kind of to the point I was alluding to initially, because like if you notice, like book three of the last book of trilogies always have So much fighting. Like this book, it could have been broken down into two, like could have been cut in half and just broken down into be two, and like be it could have been filled up more a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when Yolene initially told me that she didn't finish it, I was like, oh, maybe it's because of the same reason I was finding it chunky to finish. Because it's like, okay, but like but like yeah, it's still a good book, because at least and this is something else about like the plot threads I was talking about earlier. Like at least everything is moving, like every POV is moving the is pushing the story aggressively, very very aggressively.
Mhm.
So it at least something was happening. So yeah, and man, I French's storyline was, for me, was the most interesting.
Yeah, he kind of became the new Valen, I think.
Yes,
So
yes,
he,
yes,
yeah, so I think the torch was passed a little bit.
yes, yeah.
So we have a. I saw in the comments we have a new booktuber here.
Yes, Brandon Bennett, like he's like I've known him, like he's one of the first people that subscribed to me when I didn't have like 50 subs, and like
Oh,
he's
cool.
always commenting, and he will mention in the comment when I did one of my booktube love letters, was like, oh, like I want to start a YouTube channel, and I was like, yeah, go for it and everything. So like since then I've been trying to like help him, and yeah, like he's like he posted his first video today, and he sounds like he's been doing this for a minute. Like from the bookshelf behind him, I know he's a nerd. Like he got the nerd certification from Epictalez. So yeah, yeah, anyone who's watching this, check him out. Sub. He's a really really cool guy. Let me show you. This is his
Yeah,
channel.
yeah. I
Uh,
already subbed his channel.
yeah, Brandon Bennett. Like he's a really cool guy. He's a writer too. He's
Oh,
a
cool.
writer too. So it's really really yeah, support.
Awesome. Yeah, I already subbed his channel. So I always like to support the new booktubers.
Yeah.
So I was getting some pretty big Daenerys season 8 Game of Thrones vibes. Where
Yes.
like yeah,
Yeah.
and I wondered when was this printed, because I wondered if this inspired some of that or vice versa, because she referenced her dad when she was like rousing the crowds, and she said, I wonder if my dad ever felt this way, if he ever had this kind of reaction. So like it made me really, it was pretty heavy on,
Yeah.
it may not have been in
No, but even from the
inspired.
interview, he said he was inspired by Bloodsong, was inspired by
Mhm.
Song of Ice and Fire,
Yeah.
and I could, and I after I watched that interview, I could kind of see some parallels. Like the most obvious one for me, at least, was being Valerian, like the naming and everything. But like, yeah, I feel like Bloodsong is still its own thing, but like I could kind of see parallels there,
Hmm.
and but yeah, and I know like you said, you were getting like the season 8 kind of vibes. Season 8 kind of, you could like it's just like all these like plot lines, you just try and like just tie them up together, and like you're like present it to me. But yeah, like I love Anthony Ryan. Like I think he's a really good writer. I'm definitely going to read a lot more of his books. I feel like this was not as good as Star Lord or Bloodsong, but it's still like it's a good book. It's a good trilogy. It ended well, I guess.
The middle, like the middle portion of it, I hate to say this, but I couldn't get it out of my head. It reminded me of Valor, of the traveling and fighting and traveling and fighting.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
getting
Yes, I was like, it's too much fighting. I was like, should I I didn't want to make the comparison because I feel like there are two different stratospheres. But like, yes, I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and I hate to
And
even say it out loud.
yes, I know. But like, and I was being I still feel generally positive about it, but I was being positive because I wanted Yolene to like, I was being extra positive because I wanted Yolene to like experience it for
Mm.
herself without like not be afraid to read it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because yeah, because I feel like it's a good book.
So what were okay? So while we're on the negative, what was so other than the combat? What else did you not or the lots of action? What else did you not enjoy about it, or kind of like?
I didn't like the fact I didn't like the extra POVs. I didn't like the I don't it felt hmm. And I didn't enjoy some of the like even the pre-existing, like I didn't enjoy the some of the, so the, what's her name, the queen, I
Oh,
forgot.
Lurna or
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't
Lurna?
really enjoy specifically her POV too much. Like I kind of preferred when her face was burnt. Like I would have
Yeah.
preferred that. Like that for me made her more interesting, and I feel like that would have kind of gone better with her character as
Hmm.
like want just
Like her
like
growth.
wanting, yes, yes, like it could be, could have been like like a show, like a physical representation of her growth,
Hmm.
but that was taken away, and it's like, okay, sure, whatever. But like yeah, like I feel like yeah, I didn't really like her POV too much.
Yeah, there's a lot of POVs, and I kind of see where I think I see where he was going with it, but it was a 2 minute. It was a little too
Yeah.
much.
And like he introduced so many characters. Like or like or not just intro, he gave screen time to so many characters that frankly speaking I didn't really care about too much. But yeah, like yeah, and like I just didn't care, like, to be honest. But like at least he didn't like give all of them POVs, so thank God for that. But like yeah, like I feel like it felt a bit convoluted. But
Yeah,
like I would always reiterate, after I say something negative, it's still a good book. It's still a
yeah,
good book. Yeah.
yeah. So what was your favorite part of the book, or what stood out to you?
Exactly, that's another thing. I didn't really have any moments per se, but I really liked Frentis. I found myself looking forward to like Frentis's point of view. Like just that was like a real, that was a very, not relatable, but it was a very it was a storyline that it is very easy to like want to
Mhm.
love. Very, it was the most engaging storyline, let's say that. Like being left alone, on enemy territory to like figure things out, and then he goes and he's likely kind of reminded me of Spartacus.
Yeah,
Kind of reminded me of Spartacus, but
a
like
good
yeah,
point.
yeah, but going around, freeing the slaves, and yeah, like going around freeing the slaves, like adding to his army, like dealing with people that have like have the slave mentality, and like breaking them out of it, and then becoming this kind of like freer of slaves vibe. It was really, really, really interesting. What was your favorite moment?
I think the ally stuff towards the end, when the ally was they were learning about the ally and where he originated from, and what was driving him or it or whatever it is.
I think that was very beautifully done. I
Mm.
think that was very beautifully done. Like that, like I was not disappointed with the story, and like there were a lot of like, like see, that's the thing. This is why I say it's still a good book, because like like the when it's just, when we're talking about just the story, we're talking about the story itself. Like he said something that in that interview you had with him that I thought was very, very interesting. He said that character and story is one and the same. Now,
Hmm.
with all the mystery that he kind of established in the first two books about like the witch's bastard. Like I don't know if I don't remember if it was given a name, I forget. But like I like how like everything kept playing out. He would find this dude again, and then he would be like, he was like the first time we found him, and he was like frozen on that throne, and he was just like, like just being all around creepy like that. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. I really enjoy it. So when it comes to like the core of the story itself, the story is still very good. It's just
Mm.
this introducing new elements, and I don't know if he was experimenting.
Mm.
I don't know if he just wanted to, generally he just wanted to like expand more, and like he felt like with he didn't have enough elements to expand as much as he wants, so he added some new elements. But like yeah, like there were just it's just the additional stuff that is kind of threw me off, but like the core of the story was like it was still really good. I love the
Yeah.
reveal. I love the reveal.
And I wondered about him adding all these different characters, if he intends to expand on this universe, if this is going to be his, it's kind of like the First Law universe. There's standalones and there's other books. So I thought maybe that's what he was intending to do, is just give himself the option to have more books in this world.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I'm guessing. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, well, that would make sense because he does have more books on it. Like
Yeah,
this,
two
like
more,
the
right?
yeah, two more, yeah, and yeah, like I'll probably read it. Although, like, yeah, he said that like Valen is more like is older, and Valen
Hmm.
doesn't have the blood song anymore.
Yeah,
So yeah, I thought he was going to. So you see that scene in Tower Lord where like Valen is like running, is just like hacking through
yeah,
people to like. I thought we were going to have a scene like that again in this one, and I just kept waiting for it and waiting for it, but turns out Valen didn't need it. But I really enjoyed because there was this sense of invincibility that
hmm,
Valen had in part two that I didn't like. Like it kind of like took away from. It kind of took away from. It kind of took away from like
like his vulnerability
yeah,
or his,
vulnerability. He
yeah,
didn't really feel vulnerable. All he had to do was listen to the blood song. If the blood song wasn't like singing to him, then okay, that means the scenario wasn't important. He could make his own decision. But like he learned from book one, listen to the blood song. So I will, as far as a reader reading it, as far in my head, as far as he's listening to the blood song, he's good, you know. But like Valen just being vulnerable and and I have to say, Villain is such a cool main character. He's such a cool protagonist. Like he wasn't my favorite POV in this one, but he's such a cool protagonist, and he's it's not it doesn't like it doesn't feel tropey. It doesn't feel tropey. It doesn't feel he feels like a very unique character, you know.
hmm,
And like when we're talking about like in terms of character work, like so another someone I really rate when it comes to character work, for instance, is Joe Abercrombie.
hmm,
What him and Joe, the difference between what Joe Abercrombie does and Anthony Ryan does is that Joe Abercrombie goes into the inner monologue, and like it's really interesting, but like sometimes it drags on and sometimes it's too much and sometimes it's repetitive, right? But then Anthony Ryan, right, lets the actions of the characters speak for themselves. So
yeah,
you are developing your ideas of who this character is in your head, you know. And I feel like personally as a writer, because as a writer I feel like that is something that is very valuable for me to see, you know, for
hmm,
me to experience, because like it's like okay, this is two, this is two character like masters
hmm.
doing the same thing but in a different way, because I will not even necessarily say the character work in the 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 first Lord trilogy is better than this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. But it is, I like that you brought up the fact that they develop characters differently, and I never thought of it that way, but it does get repetitive when you hear what the character thinks, who the character thinks they are, instead of you getting to make that judgment on your own, or at least, seeing what they do and judge them by their actions. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, like someone, no, I have like this friend, one of my friends is a creative writing professor, and he reads my work and he's just like, nah, you need to let the readers guess. That's part of the fun. And I
Hmm,
can like reading this book like really drove that point in for me.
hmm, interesting. Yeah. So, well, yeah. So I was getting kind of I don't say disinterested, but it was kind of like dragging a little bit.
I
But the
know.
end really made up for it. And
Yeah.
the ally, what did you think about the ally?
He was such a cool villain. Like kind of like reduced when he was begging at the end, but like
Yeah, I was like,
I
oh,
don't know. I
okay.
was like, why don't you just go down with a blast? Like just give them the finger before you go. But like, yeah, like, yeah, like. But I think he was a really cool character, and I like how, like, I liked how they so like the sense of mystery before then, and then how his character is brought out and like shown. Like I really really enjoyed that. Like
Mhm.
I was not disappointed because sometimes like like, so for instance in Harry, have you read Harry Potter, right? I can assume you've read
No,
Harry Potter.
but
Okay, you
it's okay.
haven't. Okay,
Don't worry
it's
about it.
okay. For
Yeah, it's
real?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I was kind of disappointed in Harry Potter when like Voldemort died because of a technicality. Like after all the hype, like, are you kidding me? Like he died because of he was a cool bad guy, but then at the end he died out of a technicality, not because like Harry like became. But if you think about it, it was the only way it was going to make sense for Harry, because Harry was such a lazy person. He was brave, but he was lazy. But yeah, like I was not disappointed with the reveal. I was not disappointed with how he was defeated. I didn't like the fact he was begging at the end, but like it kind of shows like how his fear of the
Hmm.
void, of his fear of the entity that he saw like on the other side, scared him enough that he was like, okay, I have to live forever.
Yeah.
So it makes sense there. Okay, this guy was driven by fear, but yeah, just like how badass and how cool and how he was like, oh, he seemed like so in control of everything. He was up until that moment, up until that part. Like I really really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. I think from the as ruthless as he was at the end of the first book and throughout the whole series, and then for him to be begging at the end was kind of weird. But then, just as you said, I think he was so afraid of, and so someone that is so evil and ruthless, and he's been alive and been roaming and doing the things he's been doing for so long. For him to be so afraid of something
Yeah,
must be really bad. But
yeah.
it was kind of it's kind of sudden, you know.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but it's like whatever. It's like what, like the last couple pages, the last couple, so it's
Yeah.
like whatever. But yeah, yeah, like it's a good book. I'm actually curious to see what direction he goes, because at the end Valen was asking himself if he should have killed the shell that he took, the shell
Hmm.
that the entity took, because now not only does he have memories of like he has the entity's memories as well. So
Yeah.
like I'm wondering if like that is the direction he's going to go in next.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But I did get some Lord of the Rings vibes at the end, like the bittersweet, like the end, the kind of it was kind of a what they've all been through and reflective and
Yeah.
little
Yes, and then they
little
were
depressing.
they were preaching at the end too. I was like,
Yeah.
like yeah, like thank you, man. Like yeah. Thank you, but no thank you. But like yeah, yeah, like that was like what was it I wanted to say? So it's funny, like I did you expect Francis trying to save the Empress?
No, I didn't expect
I
that.
didn't expect that, yeah. I didn't expect that. But yeah, I guess it makes sense, kind of makes sense, but like yeah, I was not expecting him to try. But then he said he still has dreams of her.
Yeah, I thought those dreams were really cool. The
Yeah, those
dreams he was
dreams were
having.
really cool. When
Yeah.
she yeah, you see Francis's point of view was so interesting. He was so interesting. Like
Yeah.
he was the one I was he was the one that I was really really like enjoying, like reading about, like seeing what happens with him.
Mhm. Yeah, I think yeah, a lot of the I have a bunch of tabs here, but a lot of the stuff was like the ally stuff towards the end.
Uh,
There's some cool lines in the book. But I have a question for you. I don't know if I missed it or if I'm just a dunce or what, but
uh,
who is the Queen of Fire?
is the queen, the queen, the
Is it?
one that got her face burnt.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it
Because
was like a play on it.
no, I think she was the queen of fire because she got burnt. Like she was known for like that, and then she had a phobia,
Hmm.
and she had a phobia for fire, and then like that equipment, that weapon was fire, and like it was very instrumental in the war, like burning people left, right, center. So yeah, I think she's the queen of fire.
Yeah, because when I was reading some reviews, there were some people asking about it and they were discussing who was the Queen of Fire, so I didn't know if I had missed something.
Well, yeah, like, but like, who else? Who else could he have been?
I
Would you say
think
it was
people
the empress?
also some people were saying it was the Empress, but I wasn't sure about that. So I was assumed it was the Queen, but then I saw people talking about it. I thought, well, maybe I missed something.
Well, another reason I would say it was the queen because I remember in parts of the book, they were trying to, there was a time when River and like the slave girl, when the slave girl was asking like River questions about where she was from, she was like, "Oh, like the queen is the queen versus the empress." Like, and then like she was like, "What?" She was like, "But a queen is kind of like an empress." She was like, "Yeah, kind of, but it's different." So, like, I don't like that's a stretch, but like the way like that is differentiated there, then like it has to be there was only one queen, you know. So
Yeah,
Queen of Fire, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's how I think about it. If I had a gun to my head, but but yeah, like it did feel like it did feel like it was dragging on at some point, and
Yeah.
like I didn't like that. I really 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 didn't like that, but I feel like it's kind of how usually feel about trilogies. It's kind of how I feel about trilogies. Like the third books are never like just like all the plot threads like coming together. It just like it all of a sudden like I can't focus anymore. I'm like, oh, so that's how that is going to end. Ah, but this is happening here as well. And, like it's now, you know. So yeah, like when I'm writing my book, I'm not gonna tell how many people how many books it is. I'll
No,
just
just
Nah, I'll just keep writing. And when I finish, I stop. 2 years later, I'll be like, yo, by the way, I finished writing.
yeah, I'm done.
I'm done.
That's not a
but
bad idea.
but yeah, because I don't know if I don't know if it's I don't know, and you see, it particularly gets to me when like most of it has been because think about it, right? You're writing a character-based book, and
Hmm.
when you're writing a character-based book, it's like you're not really you kind of have vague ideas of the direction you want the story to go, where you're just writing, through one person's experiences, and like you're really like digging into it, and like you're building this one character or couple characters possible like the first law couple characters where it's more vague on the edges and everything, and then it's like, oh shit, I signed up for a trilogy, and it's like, oh, the book has to end now. So all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're like, okay, this is something I brought up in book one, and this is something I brought up in book two. This is how I want it to end. So how can I make it make sense? So you start like drawing plot. You start like it all of a sudden shifts from character based to plot based, and
Hmm.
it becomes like pretty, you know, like if I read the first book for instance and it's plot based, then fine, let's go with that. But like if it's like character based and then you introduce a plot, that's why I say I get why it's jarring.
Hmm.
I get why it's jarring. Yeah.
Huh. And so I have a question. And this is something I thought about too while I was reading this book. Was it might sound like a dumb question, but was Bloodsong too good? Was it too good of a
Yes.
book for its own
Yes.
good?
It was too good of his book for
Because
if
it was a
it, in a general, like if you're thinking about it general as a whole book, like yes, Anthony Ryan set the bar way high, like so high. Like, I remember when the first discussion I was shaking, I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, oh shit, oh shit, you know. And like I don't even feel like the other books are not necessarily as good. I just feel like you cannot shift like this that shift. The book Tower Lord is not bad, but
Mhm.
the shift is it's like it's almost as if you're reading another book. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel the same, you know. You it's better to like the feeling your is the feeling is what people are after. And if you change if you change the way the book feels, then it just feels off. But
Mhm.
I cannot like if Tower Lord was like the first book of like a series, if that was how he started, then like I don't think people will have a problem with it. But when you write something, a character-based book that well, and then you shit like that, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
a problem.
So let me ask you a question. If someone if someone who's a casual fantasy reader would ask you, should I read Bloodsong or should I read the whole series? What would you tell them? Who's a casual fantasy reader?
I would not recommend Blood Song to a casual fantasy reader.
Oh wow.
I would not recommend Blood Song because um Blood Song is like a casual fantasy reader. I do not know if they would enjoy the nuances. I feel like one of the reasons I like Blood Song, like they won't notice the nuances. I feel like that we notice and enjoy.
Hmm.
You know, if they just read it like if they just read it flat, like as a casual reader, I do not know if they would really get it. I don't know if they would really get it, you know.
Hmm.
But I would say that if you've already been reading books and you are trying to get into grim dark, this is like I like the fact that he I like the fact that he made it clear, because initially I was like, oh, is this dark fantasy? But like, I like the fact that he made it clear and said, okay, this is grim, it's mild grim dark, you know.
Hmm.
It's mild, so I feel like this could be like a very good
Like a gateway drug.
gateway into like grimdark,
Yeah.
you know, just like kind of the first law. But there's a difference, there's a very
Oh
stark
yeah.
difference,
Oh
and which
yeah.
I like because I like it. I really want to try Baker. I really can. Everyone is like, you can't say you're a grimdark, right? A reader if you have not read Baker, and I'm like, okay. So I really want to read Beyond Redemption.
Oh, Fletcher.
Fletcher also said Baker. Fletcher, sorry. I don't know why I mix Baker and Fletcher all the time.
I've heard people say that about Baker too. That if you're
Yeah,
a grim, you should. It's required reading. But
yeah.
Beyond Redemption
It's a hell of a book, eh?
is dark. It is
Yes,
dark.
yeah, yeah.
Mirror's Truth is really good too.
Mirror's Truth is good, eh? And you mentioned the other time that it's not that big of a book.
No, it's only about. I think it's like 350. I think the Mirror's Truth is about the same size, but the print is really small. So it's. I think it's
Uh,
more words. I think in Mirror's Truth, but yeah, it's really. It's dark. It's really bleak, but it's really good. Really creative.
yeah, yeah. And like someone else was telling me about this other writer, Corey something.
Corey.
Uh,
Hmm.
the guy that let me just give me a second. Let me just find his name. No Country for Old Men. Uh, Cormac McCarty.
Oh,
Cormac
he
McCarty.
wrote The Road, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like there's a lot of people are like, yo, that's someone I need to read as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
I need to get my reading on. I need to get my reading on. You know, but I'm
Yeah.
excited. Like you don't even understand. Like this challenge I did, Steve, it killed me. Like I felt so. I have like a chronic condition, like a kind of serious chronic condition, and like it has not affected me since November last year. it just like flared up. So for a week I couldn't like get off bed. And then the vaccine, and then like I was out for another week. So that's 2 weeks out of the 4 weeks that I'm supposed to be working and releasing a video a day, and like I wish you did it first so that I could learn from you. But like I like the fact you already have like 15 videos scheduled. Y'all should support Steve. He's doing the 30-day challenge, and he's doing a thing with like short stories where like he reviews them, talks of like it's such a brilliant idea. And yeah, like you want to really really get into that. Like it's a lot of fun, like, and it's not, the videos are not even so long, so
I'm
like
trying not
it,
to.
yeah, it's I feel like that is the proper way to do it, have
Yeah,
all of this
yeah.
scheduled.
I wanted to do very little editing or no editing at all, because
Yeah.
that's what takes time. Is because your videos, it probably doesn't take you that long to film, but the editing is really can be really time consuming.
So
So
I'll tell you this, right? After this challenge, like on the last day, I had 10 videos I had uploaded to make it 31. Steve, I shot and edited 10 videos. Well, no, I shot 3 videos and edited. The rest I just posted from like my reserves. But
yeah,
like 3 videos, I shot 3 videos and edited them. And in terms of editing, in terms of like color correction and all that stuff, that is my best ever.
Hmm.
So the one thing the challenge has taught me to do is to edit fast.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, like I do not like I learned a lot, so yeah, like that, I feel like that's the benefit I got from it. Like I got about 100 subs, you
Oh,
know
that's good. That's really good.
yeah, yeah. I know someone like one of my friends has like 33,000 subs. He did that. So at the time he was like below 1,000 subs. He was like maybe like 400 or 500. He did that challenge. My dude went from that to 2,000 subs like that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but like
That's awesome.
he does like crazy editing. So, and he like, of course he was smart about it as well. He like had like reserves and stuff, so it worked out really well for him. But
Hmm.
yeah, I got about 100 subs. Like I'm more comfortable with the camera, and yeah, I'm just generally feeling like better. Like I feel like I'm set up to produce better stuff.
Hmm. That's what it's all about. 100 subs
That's
is really good.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm grateful, man. I'm really really grateful. I mean, like really really grateful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a video about what I learned, the benefits and all of that, but later.
Yeah.
Like right now, I just want to sleep. I want to sleep for a week, but like, yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
lot. It's a lot of stuff.
yeah. Your interview with Antonio was actually really good. The only one question I wish I wish I could have asked him was like where did he get the idea for the where did he get the idea for like the, because it's the first time I'm seeing someone using like first person and third person, and I think it's brilliant because even in book one, like with for people that don't like when, because character based books are like just like you don't quite know where it's going, you don't know if it's going anywhere. Some people don't actually like that. Like the fact that the first person part like continuously reminds you that okay, this is going somewhere, this is going
Yeah.
somewhere, just trust. So like that first person he did there of Venier's account, it just gave it a structure that was just like I really appreciate. Like I really like, I would have enjoyed the book regardless, but like his execution and use of it was brilliant. I want to
Yeah.
ask if he came up with that or if it's something that he's seen somewhere else.
That was something that I wanted to ask him about, and I didn't know how to ask him. I didn't know how to word it. So I wish you would have asked me that before so I could have added to the
Yeah.
list. Because I wanted to ask him if he planned that out or if that was, how he intended to use that perspective, but I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out a good way to ask it.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve, I literally wrote the questions down and I forgot to press enter, and I canceled the tab, and I was like, damn it, you know what? I'm going to do this later, and then procrastination, fell sick, vaccine, and then I just
Yeah.
like the challenge, and the next thing I see it's up, I'm like, damn it. But like, you still ask, like, it was still really like, it was still like a lot of fun. Like, I enjoyed. I watch your interviews from start to finish,
Oh,
all like 2 hours. One, I sit
jeez.
down, I'm cooking, I'm listening to it, and if I don't know if you noticed, my comments are in paragraphs, so I'm
Yeah,
like,
I noticed that. Yeah.
I'm like listening. I'm like, that's a good point. I comment on that, and then I keep listening. I'm like, okay, okay. Like it was a really, really good interview. So for
Thanks.
y'all go check y'all go check that out. Like I left his link is in the description. So like check that out if you want to. Like, Antoran is a brilliant writer. He's has to be in my top 5 right now. So like check him out, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the review I'm going to do on my channel. Oh, I'm going to do some sick animations. I'm already starting to find some art I'm going to use. And the scene I'm going to animate in Blood Song, I'm going to animate the scene where he's like fighting the kind of like gladiator setting when
Mm.
he kills that guy, and it's like, this guy was innocent, and then
Oh yeah.
before, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
That'll be
feel like
good.
that would be a good scene to animate. Yeah, such a good book.
Yeah,
Such
really
a good
good.
book. Yeah.
So overall, what would you rate the book and the series? What would you give it?
So this last book, I will rate it a 4. Altogether, like I'll rate it a 4.72. Because for me it's leaning towards a 5, because I that's how much I like Blood Song. And although book 2 is different, I can see it from a technical, just like technical writing, and if this was what he started with, it's a brilliant book by itself. So like yeah, and then book 3, I have my problems here and there, but like the core of the story itself is still really good. It's all only the additional elements he adds. Plus I really, really enjoyed Francis's point of view, so I'll rate it a 4.75. 7.2, not 5. He gave it some
Four
point
point
3
seven two.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What would you rate it?
I would probably give this one I think it came up to a 4 in the last 100 pages or so, and then the series I'd probably go with the 4.
Yeah.
I think it would be, I think, coming in knowing what to expect is a big thing.
It's a
So
big
like we
part,
talked
yeah.
about. So
Yeah. You have to know what you're getting into.
yeah.
You have to know what you're getting into, because yeah, like yeah, if you don't, then I can understand why it after I wrote Tower Lord, I was in such a good mood to argue, but then when I was reading um Queen of Fire, I was like, okay, this is not this is not this is not the same feeling.
Yeah.
This is not the same feeling. Like my love for book 1 drove me to read the remaining 2 books, but it's not the same feeling. And like, so like yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to. It was a different feeling, and the characters didn't seem like the characters like Valen didn't seem quite the same, and he was kind of wearing. You could he had they talk a little bit about him wearing down and not being as strong as he used to be, and he getting older, and so I kind of get that, but it just seemed a little
Yeah, well, a bit
little flat.
underwhelming. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like Valen's like perspective, the stuff Valen does is important, but it didn't quite. And probably the most important thing, but it didn't quite feel as important of what was going on in Valeria.
Yeah.
It didn't feel so. It's kind of like you give your main character a side mission,
Yeah. A side
like
quest.
a
Yeah.
side quest. Like that's how it felt.
Yeah.
You know
That's good. That's a good way to put it.
And but Frentis was fun to read. Although, yeah, what he ended up being important at the end, but I just felt like it just felt what he was doing felt really exciting, but it didn't feel while it was going, it didn't feel like important in the grand scheme of things. And I
Mm.
feel like yeah, and then River, but then like the characters that the who River turned out to be from like who she was, good character development, but like the difference is it is a huge chasm. It's so big,
Yeah.
becoming so decisive and becoming so like I didn't like the fact that at some point she was just like, oh, Valen will come and save me.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. Although like she ended up like figuring a lot of things by herself, but like just like, oh, if Valen finds out she's gonna come save me. I was like, I don't know if no, I don't want her thinking like that. But like yeah, but like yeah, and then like the one person that kind of felt the change in their character was made a lot of sense was the queen. But like when she got, because at the start of the book she gets healed, the scars
Hmm.
go, it kind of just took away a little bit. 'Cause that was like my favorite moment, and that was like, like I feel like the scar made her so like I don't know. It's like would have, if the scar was left there, it would have made her more memorable in my head.
Yeah.
The queen who was so beautiful, like grew up, like everyone is like, oh my god, she's so beautiful, and then having half her face burnt, and
Yeah.
because of that, she's driven to like she just wants blood. Like that would have made that would like that bitterness would have made her character. Hey, fit to be red is here.
Hey.
This is this is fit to be Yo, I told you we should do a challenge. Push-ups, man. You see, look at my small biceps. Push-ups, man. Like we'll do a challenge, me and you, and then we'll do push-ups if the whoever loses. But yeah, thanks for making it, man. I appreciate the support. This is my first live stream, and yeah, 6 people. Yay.
All
Like
right. No, that's pretty good.
I'm happy, man. I'm grateful, man. I'm super grateful, man. I'm super grateful. Like yeah. So have you read the Raven Shadow trilogy? Fit to be read? If you haven't, I highly recommend it. But yeah, maybe you want to watch my non-spoiler reviews first.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing those. That'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah. But like yeah. And yeah, just so you know, like Steve is we'll do June Jeopardy and everything and Mr. Well, you see, I'm reading Dune. I'm doing a read along Dune on my Discord in a week. So like I don't know if that would be fair, but if I'm down if you're down. But so yeah, so Steve is also doing a thing on his channel, a 30 day
Yeah. Spoiler.
ah
Yeah. Check the spoiler freeze first. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We check the spoiler free reviews, but then after you do, like it's a book I highly, highly, highly recommend,
Hmm.
especially if like you're trying to read more fantasy. So yeah,
Yeah. 4.75. It's a 4.72
7-2.
certified. Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, which tag is that? Which tag was that?
Oh, he hasn't uploaded it yet.
Oh, it hasn't uploaded it. Okay, yeah, upload it, man. Like, call me out, call me out. Let's
Call
do
me out.
it. Let's
Well,
do
cool.
it.
Yeah, it was a fun one. What are we? So next is Iconoclasts.
I cannot. And what day is that again?
Let me see. I think it was the last Saturday of each month.
The last Saturday of each month. Okay, yeah,
Let me see the.
that works for me. That
I
works
think
for
it
me. Yeah.
was the 25th.
I wanted to start reading the Iconoclast like tomorrow, actually, but then I was like, maybe that's a bad idea because if I like it, I might want to read the other books,
Yeah.
and I want to be on track with everyone. So I'll read something else. But yeah, thank everyone that showed up. Thank you so much for showing up. This was my first live stream. I thought it went well. The next time, you already know it's Epic Tales. I'm gonna have graphics, like things are gonna be flying all over the screen as we're talking. And yeah, like thank you for showing up. Thanks you for listening. And yeah, like this concludes the Raven Shadow trilogy. And yeah, I'm glad like Yolene like recommended the book to us, and yeah, check out Steve's channel. He's dope. Like when I look at my statistics, the people that watch my stuff like to watch his stuff as well. So yeah, like check his stuff out, man. If you like Epictalez, you're gonna love him. And stay epic.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Peace.
Peace.